Hello there guys, welcome back to another The Bus video. I'm QwertyAfro. Let's get into it. This time not too much talking from me because I did all the talking in the first episode, but I'm excited to do another video on the bus and show you a little bit more of the game, of what there is. Obviously it's very limited currently because there's not much stuff to do in the game in terms of just driving the TXL line up and down, doing some variations. And what I'm going to do in this episode is do a little bit of a variation. Let's get into the game. So I've set up here again. There's not really much to do. I put the weather on dynamic, so it's just going to be a complete gamble and lottery of what kind of weather we get. We might get rain, we might get snow, might get whatever. But I've put the date as well to March, so it's not June where I did it in the first episode where I wanted it all like nice and sunny and clear. In this one, it could just turn out to be anything. Also on the tour line, I'm doing a variation, so I'm not doing the whole line the other way round, even though I might do that in another video. But I'm doing a variation where we start from Robert Kochplatz, I think, which is actually one of the other routes that you can actually see in the timetable mode. But for some reason, obviously because free play is the only thing you can do right now, and free play on this sort of line tour kind of thing where you set up, there's not really much I can do except for just doing the line and then just picking a start point from the line. So I don't know how you put the route that is on the variation thing on the timetable, like editor section. I don't know how to put like an edited route variation to play it in free play. I guess that's something that doesn't translate to free play, and free play is just, it gives you the whole route and then you just pick where you want to start and do, but you can't do like just a saved route or whatever. I guess that's more for like the economy or career thing that will come out at some point. But I'm doing a variation where one of the routes actually is just between Robert Kochplatz and Tegel, and Tegel and Robert Kochplatz. I think another one is if I can remember, I think it's even short. I think it's like half and half to Tegel or something like that. I don't know if there's any sort of variations the other way to Alexanderplatz, but today I thought I'd just do a Robert Kochplatz to Tegel, again in the Scania CityWide low floor 18-meter bus, the bendy bus, because it's the only thing right now we currently have to well, the time I'm recording this obviously is a pre-public release. This is an alpha, so things can change, just to put that out there. And yeah, let's get into it. So obviously this time we are not starting at either end, so it's not Alexanderplatz, it's not Tegel, it's in the middle here at Robert Kochline, if I'm saying that right. I do apologize if I'm butchering the German pronunciation of these names in Berlin, but I'm not German. Let's see what we're dealing with here. It's really nice. It's nice actually starting in just the middle of nowhere. I still haven't seen any sort of like AI buses. I don't know if that's something in this build that I'm playing in pre-release where there isn't actually any other AI buses driving around doing the same kind of routes and tours, or when you're doing free play mode. But that's fine. I guess that's something to come. And it's nice actually starting in the middle here and actually having a little walk around and just having a look at just essentially the detail of the game. Is just so good. Like, this just looks really, like, really nice. It does feel like Berlin. Anyway, we have a bus to drive. Probably Scania. Open it and let's get involved here. Get sat down. Hopefully, I've reset my track IR. It shouldn't be as bad as the last episode near the end. Kind of did get bad because of just the positioning and stuff. Track IR is just very fiddly. If you have a track IR, you know what I mean. It doesn't take much for it to just lose its mind. Right. There, you can hear the engine. You didn't hear it like spool up and start the ignition again because it's all the way back there, 18 meters behind my head. So it should be a bit louder, though, I think, because I think you would, if you were on a bendy bus and you were right here at the front, I think you would be able to hear. I think you would be able to hear the engine. Let's get the... If I'm looking down at my G29, what am I actually pressing? Let's get the low beams on. So we just get... I like when my instrument cluster is like turned on, which is nice. Let us... what should we do in terms of... I think... oh yeah, air conditioning. And then the only other thing would be just to get this... I guess it's called an IBIS. I kept calling it that in the first episode. I'm guessing it is that, because that's why I remember it from OMSI. 62791. And it knows exactly where we are from Robert Kochplatz to Flughafen Tegel, Berlin Tegel International Airport. And that's all I have to do. Very simple sort of ticketing mode, which is just really nice and refreshing, nothing too complicated. It tells you everything you need to input, and to me that is top-notch stuff. We can just quickly cycle through if there's anything. I don't think there's anything we need to... Oh yeah, the lights to turn on for the passengers, and I think that's everything really. I think we're sorted. We're ready to rock and roll to Tegel today, and get the door closed, and then we activate that, loosen the parking brake, and then it's telling me everything that I need to be doing, which is it's nice for a new game. I think for new players as well that come into a game, it is really nice to be given a little bit of a helping hand in terms of what to do. Of course, most players won't also have a like a G29 setup like myself, tracker, or that shebang. But keyboard is still a good enough median to play through. I think I play sometimes Fanbus, and even this I tried out a bit on the keyboard, and it worked. It was fine. Obviously with a steering wheel it's a lot more immersive, but I wouldn't knock playing with a keyboard, because I used to do it quite a long time ago. Right. Will they come on board? Yes, they will. Oh yeah, I could close these two doors because there's no one actually that requested to actually go off. I've been, like in the previous episode, I just opened the doors all the time, and I should have just paid attention in terms of if I don't need to open the back doors, I don't need to open them, because no one's actually requested to get off. So what we single ticket AB, so AB zone single ticket, and print that off for them, and we're giving €1 back. There we go, perfect. Very nice. Let's get that door closed. Only one door closed. And we can... I think we can go. I think I don't have to select anything. That's fine. And we have a nice red light to stop at, which is great. Slap on the parking brake. Everything in terms of setting up peripherals is pretty much the same as Fanbus. And I guess as well Tourist Bus Simulator, even though I've not really played that game too much to know the ins and outs of that one. But setting up peripherals in this game is really nice. I actually really like the way that they do it within the menu for like this and Fanbus. It has like the install wizard in terms of like it will assist you through and do the main controls like steering, brake, accelerator, indicators and stuff, and then the rest is just through like a list where you kind of go down and you just pick what you kind of want to attach or map to any of the buttons on your G29, G27, any sort of Thrustmaster or whatever steering wheel you have, and then the rest you can just leave on the keyboard, because I don't map all of my keys to like buttons in the G29. Some of them I just leave as the keyboard ones, the ones that you don't really use too often. But yeah, that's one thing that's good. That straight off the bat, that the peripheral support is there, and it's kind of just easy to kind of get in, play and go, kind of on that sort of extent. Ooh. braking, I'm still not convinced by this braking, or it's just maybe the performance of the game. It's not smooth. The acceleration's smooth. I like the acceleration, but the deacceleration's a bit odd. It's a little bit off for me. I like that, a little bit of... Do a little bit of external driving. And it has the same sort of Unreal Engine kind of thing where it doesn't like objects, the free camera, or the kind of like following camera. Similar to like Train Sim World, where it just kind of flicks in with the objects. Anyone getting off? No. We can close those doors. And... okay, I thought that person was actually wanting a ticket, but they don't. It's fine. It's beautiful. So good for me, less work. And Hafbanau station again. Really nice. Very nice. The detail is just, I'd say, really good. It's acceptable, and it's much more detailed than Fernbus. Very much so detailed than Fernbus. When you're working with a sort of kind of like one-to-one, in terms of what this game is trying to achieve, it's definitely, you can notice, and I've never driven in Berlin. I don't know Berlin, realistically myself. I've played it in other games like OMSI, and you can definitely tell the sort of difference in being one to, like, obviously, like, even the best sort of comparison here would be to, again, Fernbus, the driving in Berlin in Fernbus compared to driving in Berlin here on the bus game, and you definitely feel the kind of, this is a huge city. This is, it's gonna take an hour to go from like end to end or something like that, how normally it would take like to trek in real life a huge like capital city like this. But yeah, it'd be nice to see how we arrive into the airport on this sort of little mini journey today in this episode. Yeah. And one thing for the future, if the tram AIs get put in, would be lovely to see the sort of interaction where you would have to give way to trams, and you're no longer the king of the road with the bus. The tram overseats the bus. And it's just nice not going fast. In Fernbus it was all about, speeding and, motorway driving, while here it's very much so a slower game. And this was the infamous little corner here, I think, in the first episode, where I kind of mucked around and forgot to look at my sat nav, and essentially had to do some very questionable maneuvering, which I think I edited out. But yeah, reversing with a bendy bus is not it's not a thing that I would it's not something I prefer to do by I prefer not to do it. Now, sometimes this bus, when I stop for an X amount of time, the bus seems to go into neutral, and then you have to slot it back into drive. I don't know if that's some sort of feature with this Scania, but it's something I've noticed. It doesn't do it all the time, but I've noticed that in certain situations, it likes to do that. Is that a bus lane, or is that just a... I think it's just a bicycle lane, isn't it?
U-Bahnhof Turmstraße.
And I'm not sure what this weather is. It's a bit hazy. I'm lucky we didn't get rain, but at some point we'll see how the rain is. I think I did try out load up into a game where I was in the rain, and I tested the wipers a bit, and they're a little bit iffy, let's say, the wipers, in terms of when they interact with the water particles on the windscreen. They're not as good as like the ones in Fernbus, or I don't know. Again, this game is in alpha, so a lot of things could will change by the time this is, you know, publicly released as well in early access. But also can be, you know, a lot of things are going to change by the time it goes through its early access program, and once it's like fully like a fully released game. And this is a lot of fog, I have to say. I might actually, once we get to the next station, which is Terminstrasse, I might actually have to put on the fog lights. I don't know what the fog lights, the key for the fog lights are, because I didn't think I would need them. So I didn't map them out on my G29. And it is really getting foggy. Just nicely slipping in here, as we would do as the sneaky bus driver. Actually, one thing we could do here is actually find, so turn on fog light, turn on fog light, and I don't know if that actually does anything. It doesn't do anything. I don't know, visually I was thinking maybe, but maybe there is there fog lights? Not too sure. Right. But I've turned them on because it is very foggy, which I like. It brings a little bit of atmosphere. In the next minute it's going to start snowing, and there's going to be a blizzard and then a hurricane. And I can read my sat-nav in this episode. And can I squeeze in here? Oh, I think I just about scraped. Little nudge. Won't, you know, it won't hurt. Right, are you gonna move, or you're just gonna... Yeah, that's... Oh, okay, yep. Oh, yep. Yep, I'm dragging that van with me. That's fine. It's all good. It's all in the spirit of transportation. Very nice. I actually look into turning off the actual bus markers, because I don't actually... do I have them in... They do have them in Fernbus, but I don't know if I have them turned off, maybe. A lot of people getting on here. Yeah, it's really foggy. It's very atmospheric, isn't it? I do like, even though there's no graphics that show the inside of the shop, I do like this sort of thing where it is a 2D image, but there is a bit of space that kind of makes it look like that the inside is sort of like 3D, but obviously it's 2D, and I really like how it's implemented in like this game as well as in Fernbus. So I'm already indicating, and I haven't even closed my doors. Right. Alright, let's push on forward. I can't wait till the game does get a little bit more optimized. That's one thing in the first episode I feel like, and even in this episode, I am feeling I don't have specs where I would like expect kind of like tanks and performance, but I have to kind of remember that this game is alpha. It's not released. It's not a full state. It's not a fully finished full state game. It is a game that's still in development, in heavy development, I would think, because most of the features are not there. This game there's not really much to do with it, to be honest. I'm not going to be doing a lot of episodes on this game for now, until something gets added where I can like showcase it to you guys. But for now, you're just driving up and down on this TXL line, and just in this one bus. You get to change the weather a bit, try different times of day, maybe try in the night as well would be a nice episode. But until they actually add more things, there's not really much to cover. There's a lot in terms of what the game is going to be and what it's going to offer in the future, but for now, in this current state, there's actually, you know, just all we're kind of doing is kind of looking around at the map.
Turmstraße, Beuselstraße.
Right, another red light. And of course it changes to green as soon as I come to a halt. And I'm speeding in an area where I'm supposed to be going slow, and when I'm in an area where I can go faster, I tend to just slow down for some reason. But the game feels like it doesn't need me to drive fast, and like obviously I'm in a built-up, you know, city, like urban area. This isn't like a motorway like on Fernbus where you can just let the gas, you know, go and let it rip. So, you know, you're definitely your driving style in this game is a lot more conservative, I would think. And I do prefer this sort of type of driving. Like, I do like doing a bit of like Fernbus with the motorway driving, but I do kind of fundamentally like this sort of shorter haul of driving, which obviously kind of reminisces to the days of OMSI, which potential well, OMSI is coming, don't get me wrong. OMSI will come on the channel, I do promise. That is a promise, it'll come, just not yet. I'm working on it. The G29 is on my table. It is out more than it's in wherever I stored it before. So it's getting used. So if it can be used for Fernbus, if it can be used for the bus, it can be used for OMSI. And I think actually recently I did a fresh reinstall of OMSI, so that's also another reason why there is a little bit of a delay with the return of OMSI on the channel. But as I said, I do promise it will come back, and it will come back strong with a lot of OMSI London content. And then I don't know what other stuff I want to do with OMSI, because I've not really checked out anything in terms of updates and freeware and payware and stuff like that for that game. But hopefully the bus might become that future OMSI game that we always wanted. And I kind of am putting a bit of my hope into that. I would like to see that become a reality. Man, the internal sounds of this bus and the rattling is so... It's done very well, I have to say. I'm not faulting the sounds here, but they can be a little bit piercing. And I'm seeing, obviously Berlin has a lot of buses and a lot of bus routes. I'm seeing quite a lot of bus stops that we're actually passing, so I assume those could be potential bus stops for other lines in the future, potentially. I don't know if anyone knows what these lines are that we're passing and what they would be like in terms for other routes, but I assume that technically nothing's off limits in terms of the BVG bus network in Berlin in terms of in this game. Could we see a MAN double-decker? That would be interesting. And what is this? I guess this is the sort of like radio the drivers use. But a big thing I would think is that the relationship between TML and MAN is really good. So if we're seeing MAN coaches in like Fernbus and Tourist Bus Simulator, I wouldn't really be surprised, or even to speculate, or even to kind of like desire that in the future we could see the MAN double-decker, like the I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one that came with the X10 OMSI map, that really like nice MAN double-decker which you could use for like the express routes on the Berlin BNG bus network. So if maybe that could be on the cards in the future, potentially. that's nice. A little kebab, doner kebab stall. Is that doner kebab stall literally there in real life at this station? That would be so cool if it is. Yeah, not bad. No one's buying tickets yet from me. Bit sad, but it is what it is. Let's get doors closed. One thing with the multiplayer sort of aspect, and in terms of if this little thing here is a radio, could we potentially, in having some sort of voiceover within the game, could there potentially be a little bit of a radio network here, so you could like radio other drivers on the same like instance and the same map that you guys are all driving on? That's something that could be interesting. There's a little bit of a ported off road there. Maybe that goes into like a bus stop or something. Because now that would be very interesting in terms of having a radio network, where obviously you could use like Discord or something like that, but having an in-game like radio kind of thing, a bit similar to Euro Truck Multiplayer. I know Euro Truck Multiplayer has like some sort of radio thing within the game. Would be cool to see maybe this in the terms of the multiplayer. Would have something similar. And then also, like, what are the server sizes going to be? How many players can drive all together on like this one map? Because obviously it's a huge map, and this is quite I would say a lengthy line. I think end to end it does take about, if you're driving perfectly to the timetable, I think it takes about 30 minutes. So it's not massively long, but it's still quite a bit of a route with a decent amount of bus stops. How many people technically could drive on this? Would it be the same sort of amount of players to AI buses that would normally take to timetable a whole sort of tour of this one line? Or is it worked out a bit differently, or is it basically what TML can like do in terms of server capacity? This is all stuff that's interesting to know. At some point, maybe we want to get more details for the multiplayer. But for now, I'm very much so enjoying the single player experience, and I am just a bit drunk today with driving. I think my track IR is a little off center, so that's why I'm a little bit disorientated. You never really know how much a track IR affects you in game. And you can notice every sort of little movement if it's not centered properly. My tracker has been just always problematic, and it's probably the little sensor thing that you put on top of your monitor that always it's not that firm in terms of where you secure it, so it's easy to, like, especially with my G29 vibrating to some of the actual like road quality potholes, and anytime I've had to reverse or something like that, it vibrates the table and then vibrates my monitor, which obviously moves the sensor around a bit, so it's a little bit inconsistent. This is a pretty road. We're going down like a nice little, following the river here. And there's a good amount of like people walking about. Obviously we're in the city, and this was the thing with like Fernbus, you only saw people really in the cities, and then outside and about out you didn't really see much. But this, I have to say, the quality in terms of like the atmosphere of the city feels really good. There's a nice amount of AI traffic. I actually think I've reduced the AI traffic in the actual settings, which you can do. But it still feels like a realistic amount, and actual people walking on the sidewalks and stuff like that is actually not too bad as well. Right, off we go. Buschelweg. I think that might be the second to last stop. Not too sure. Yeah, this is definitely, I think I'm gonna really like this game. I'm really getting good vibes from it, and if it, like, it's a really good start, and it definitely feels like, compared to like when, like, say, Fernbus came out, this is definitely I think a much stronger start. And obviously TML do have Fernbus that they've, you know, like, perfected over the years, and to come with that as a, like, a good foundation of how, like, building a sort of like coach bus simulator game, it's now interesting coming into this and having this as the next thing. And talking about coach, there we go. One thing, interestingly enough, could we maybe even seen a sort of like maybe collaboration here of Fernbus being sprinkled into this game, because obviously they've licensed with BVG. They have the license for Fernbus, but could we maybe see Fernbus and BVG a little bit? Obviously, in the future, if they do add MAN coaches and stuff like that, I'm sure with repaints people can just add it, but it would be interesting to see if they sprinkle a bit of maybe Fernbus AI, you know, because I'm sure if there's going to be some like main bus station terminals on this map, I wouldn't be surprised if there's actual coach station terminals that you could drive into. But we shall see. I don't know what's the extent that this map will be built out to, what kind of other bus routes, or is everything on the table here? We don't know. This is why I'm so excited, because there's so much potential that you can do in a game like this, where you have a whole city, you have a whole you know, network here with BVG bus routes. And we are coming to our next and final stop. Berlin Tegel. And I want to see how we actually enter it into the arrival sort of kind of area, because obviously in the first episode we departed from Tegel off, like, basically through ramps. So it'd be nice to see it from the other way, where we're coming in as a bus service. And the AI seems to be alright. I've not really had... we did, you know, scrape and scoop up a minivan on the way, but generally the AI feels good. It's been perfected, I guess, again, from Fernbus. Like, a lot of things, I think Fernbus has led the way in terms of perfecting it, where they can get it, you know, running... What's the phrase? The saying, like, they can get it off running from the ground? I don't know. My analogies are just so bad. But they can get straight off the bat with this game. They can get straight off the bat with the sort of features that they've perfected in Fernbus, which is, you know, good to see. And who knows, maybe there might be a route added where there's a little bit of motorway driving as well, which would be cool to see. And I guess this is the sort of entrance into Tegel. Bit quiet. But also the fog's lifted. That's one thing I forgot to mention. And I don't know, maybe even AI planes could be something. That'd be nice to see. Now, where am I? So that's taxi. Where do buses go? We're going up here. Don't want to mess it up like I normally do when I come into Frankfurt Airport in Fernbus. Oh, there we go. It's actually a pretty simple layout here at Tegel. I wonder if Brandenburg, the new airport, will be added to the game. Would be interesting to know. Yeah, actually quite a simple layout here, nothing too complex. we go. There we go. Just open the back 2 doors, that's fine. We can even open the front door. That's not too bothersome. Perfect. There we go. All done. Can I get a little external? Very nice. Anyway, guys, I hope... oh, and that's even updated nicely now to Alexanderplatz. So that's nice. The return shift duty just continues, which is really cool to see. Something, again, in Fernbus, not like... I don't think you could do like a return thing. You just did a thing and that was it. It completed the thing. While here, it's really nice that it just kind of carries over in a way. So that's really cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed another episode of The Bus. I don't know what you guys would want me to do maybe for the next episode. Do let me know in the comments down below, because obviously I've kind of shown you everything for now. I think maybe there's more to show, but obviously I'm recording this prior to the game being publicly available for release on Steam for early access, so things might be even added for the release. So I'm just showing you what I can show you right now when I have the game available to record videos for you guys to be released when the actual game comes out. So when the actual game comes out, there might be actual stuff that I might need to jump on and do an episode straight after, but you'll be seeing this probably after the game is actually released. So do let me know what you guys want me to check out in this game. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. And I have to say, I'm really enjoying this. I think I see great things for this game. And again, thank you to TML for reaching out and sending a code for giving me a little bit of early access, a little preview into this before it's actually publicly available. And I have to say, good job. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's to come down the line for this game. But other than that, guys, take care, be safe, and I'll see you in another episode or in another video. Bye, guys.
We ain't never giving up, 'cause we ain't